Well, hello and welcome to episode 49. A friend that we hadn't seen in years stopped over on Memorial Day weekend recently, and it was so nice seeing her again because we hadn't seen her in about 6 or 7 years. Her husband was in South Carolina with family, and I asked about him, and she replied by saying, "Larry's Larry, he's never going to change." So I told her, so I said, "Well, if that's the case, then tell him that I don't need to see him. I was hoping to see a different Larry." Women have such incredible memories for what you wear when you've gone out to either a restaurant or a social gathering. So I'm getting dressed to go to a little get together with some of our neighbors. And I always have to go through the approval process. And I don't know how in the world women remember what we wore 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I admit it, I'm no fashion plate, that's for sure. So I've learned to put out some shirts, shorts, pants, and footwear to see if she approves since I get all kinds of responses to the wrong clothing choices, such as this is a very long list too. That shirt is so old, you should have thrown that out, even though I've probably only had it for 25 or 30 years. You can't wear running shoes when you go out to eat. That shirt does not go with these pants. Those colors do not go together. You're colorblind. You wore that last week. It's a horrible match. I'll pick out your clothes. You have no idea what you're doing. You need to buy a whole new wardrobe. And then when she's through with the wardrobe malfunctions, she'll tell me to shave, which includes both my face and the back of my neck. Another thing she told me was that when I'm ready to buy some new clothes, she has to go with me. And note that clothing and fashion is very casual these days. And we're not in Santa Barbara, Palm Beach, or the Hamptons. And I have no desire to go to any of those destinations, anyways. I'm definitely not into the chic, fashionable, posh, or deluxe lifestyle. Not my cup of tea. We've been to a few places that could fall into this classification, but I'm not at all attracted to this lifestyle and very ill at ease with it. I just head to the nearest bar with my out of fashion clothes. The fancier the clothes at a social gathering, or should I say, the stuffier the social gathering is, the more removed I become. I don't remember when I realized that I was idiosyncratic, being a bit weird, since I've always had a fascination with human behavior and interaction, and I love to observe people and try to read the subtleties in each person that I'm with. I started this when I was rather young, around 12 or 13, and I have never stopped. And hey, maybe this is not as rare of a trait as I believe. I suppose that everyone does this to a certain degree. It involves not only an exchange or conversation, but a subconscious detection of facial and body cues that flow both ways. And some people are easier to read than others, but the subtle signals provide information on our responses and our flow. My own style, which can certainly vary, was and still is to talk freely and humorously to relax whom I'm with. And from there, I attempt to read the vibes to see where to go from this point. But being a nervous, idiosyncratic person can be a bit exhausting at times, and I can usually detect when things are not going well. And though it's not easy for me, if the interaction isn't going well, I will pull back and let the other people or persons take over and I will listen. Another challenge I face with me is that my attention can lag if the conversation becomes boring or out of my range. But I don't get too uptight about it since I find it a natural state, especially when I don't know much about the topic. But after all, this is who I am and I accept it. And I have run into plenty of people who do not care for my ways, but I can take a knock or two, all the while knowing that if I do change at all, it won't be to a very large degree. It would be dishonest of me, and it's not who I am. But everything is a learning experience in life. So basically, what I'm saying is that I'm a bit weird, but also harmless and annoying. So after spending a few days visiting my brother and my sister-in-law in Myrtle Beach recently, I decided to try some new cocktails since I'm getting a bit tired of the beer and or wine routine. And I really enjoyed some of the rum and vodka cocktails and along with gin, since I've always been a gin and tonic fan since I was much younger. So I noted the four cocktails I tried and decided that I'm going to get into some of these cocktails and jotted down all of the ingredients that I need for these potent potables and went to Total Wine and picked up all the necessities, including the light and dark rum, the limoncello, the vodka, the lemon juice, the lime juice, the grenadine, the blackberry and banana liqueurs, pineapple juice, and a cocktail shaker. And my wife bought me a bottle of gin for Father's Day, so I'm set now. And speaking of the word set, well, these liquors, tonic, and juices did set me back a bit. But after I mix my first cocktail, I won't think of it again. And of course, my wife thinks I'm crazy and she feels that I could be playing with fire at my age with mixing all of these cocktails. And I reassured her that I won't get out of control and that if I should get carried away, well, we'll have to go somehow and sometime. And I'll go out in flames and make it memorable and maybe even go with a smile on my face. And life can be pretty boring at my age, anyways. And I'll end with this one. I spoke with a contractor recently as we're looking to renovate our bathroom, and a couple of the contractors bailed on us due to certain circumstances, overwork, whatever. So the most recent contractor I spoke with about the bathroom, the first question he asked was how old I was, and I told him I'm 68 years old, and he replied by saying, "You're not going to live long enough for us to get to it, so we're going to have to pass on this job." Only kidding, of course. Now we'll stop here.